and welcome back to By Myself But Not Alone. This is episode 23, Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, at the end of the last episode, we took our little ride on what we've since referred to as the Tulsa merry-go-round before hopping on I-40 with every intention of jumping right back off. We had to get coffee and we had to get breakfast, but we wanted to get down the road just a little ways. It didn't take us long to find a Waffle House. We parked the car and headed on in, and we headed right back out as soon as we saw the length of the line. If you've ever been in a Waffle House on a Saturday morning, you'll understand the problem. We jumped on Google and found there was another Waffle House pretty close. We figured we'd give that one a try, and if that didn't work out, we could always hit Old Faithful McDonald's. On our second try, we lucked out. The place was packed, but there was one open table. As we were walking in, somebody was walking out, so we had a seat. When the lady came to take our order, she saw our shirts and she knew we were in town to see the Metallica show. She told us that she had been at the show too. It was her first Metallica show. She was absolutely blown away. She had several coworkers that went too, but none of them made it to work that day. She said she had every bit of confidence that the excitement from the night before would carry her through the day. She looked tired, but she was going to make it. She took our order, went and checked on some of the other customers, and then she came back and we talked a little bit more about it. And it's just always exciting to hear about someone's first Metallica experience. We really enjoyed the conversation. Shortly after that, our food arrived. We had a great breakfast. I got good and hopped up on coffee, and I was ready to roll. We talked to the waitress a little while longer. We ended up explaining the whole black ticket thing to her. She seemed really excited. She just kept on asking us questions. We finally realized it was time to get on down the road. We asked for our bill. We laid the money in the bill at the end of the table. Svet got up and headed out the door. I was just about to get up myself, and when I looked down, I noticed that I still had half a cup of coffee. Well, that wasn't going to happen, so I picked the coffee up and I went ahead and finished it off, and Michelle was over there messing around with something in her hands, and I saw that she had a guitar pick and she laid it on top of the money. I was sure it was a Tulsa pick, and it just made me think. This was one of the type of things that you can't go around looking for because it's so random, but when they happen, they stick out like a sore thumb. And if you pay attention, you'll see things like this all over the place. And what I'm talking about are those little moments that tell you you are in good company. And as I was sitting there thinking about this, I heard Michelle say, "Are you going to get up, or am I going to have to strangle you and drag you out to the car? Come on." I kind of started laughing, but I stood up and I led her out of the booth. I turned to the Waffle House crew and said, "Thanks for the excellent service. Rock on." As we headed out the door, Michelle continued. She said, "This is why you can't ever get anywhere. You're like a little kid." I kept laughing at her. I said, "You're not so mean. I saw what you did with that pick. That was nice. Smooth move." And by that time, we got over to where Svet was. He was eyeballing the front tires. And he said, "I believe the front driver's tire is a little low." And I looked at both of them, and neither one of them looked low to me, but I'm not going to argue with an engineer. He's probably the most observant person I've ever been around in my entire life. Michelle and I like to say that Svet sees more between two blinks of the eye than most people see all day. So we hit a gas station, we topped off the tank, we put some air in the tires, checked the other three. Svet was absolutely right. One of the four tires was low. Still don't know how I could tell by looking because they all look the same to me. But I was really happy he was along. I really wasn't worried about breaking down, but it's always in the back of your mind, especially when you're trying to get somewhere at a certain time. And it was good to know that we had the right guy in the back seat. So we got back on the road, I-40 East. It was a nice little 4-hour drive. When we got near Little Rock, we started seeing patches where it looked like it had snowed the night before, and I really wasn't expecting to see that. The temperature really seemed to be dropping quickly, and compared to what we had just come from, it was much colder than I was anticipating, and it looked like we were probably in for a cold couple days. When we got into Little Rock, we drove around for an hour or so. We wanted to check out the city. We found Svet's hotel. We dropped him off. The plan was we'd go find our hotel, get ready, come back, pick him up, and head to the pre-party that was being put on by the local Met Club chapter, Arkansas Rise. When we got to our hotel, we were actually very surprised. Based on what we had read online, quite a few of the reviews had mentioned security as an issue, and kind of seemed like we might be in a little bit of a rough area. But when we got there, the hotel was much nicer than we were expecting. When we considered the reviews and the price, we kind of figured we were going to end up in a place kind of like what we had in Tulsa. But when we got there, we couldn't figure out what the reviews were all about. We figured that might change when the sun went down, but it didn't. After 2 days of being there, we left with the same question marks of all the reviews as we had when we first got there. So it was a really nice place. So we got everything unloaded. We went and got something to eat. We took another little drive around this area. It wasn't a bad area. We got ready and went over and picked up Svet and headed to the pre-party. When we got there, it was at a place called, everyone was calling it Cregan's Irish Pub. Based on the way it was spelled, it didn't sound right, but that's what everybody was calling it, so I'll go with that. When we got inside, the place was really packed, a lot of familiar faces. I'm not going to start naming everyone, because if I do, I'll feel like I'm leaving somebody out. But we met quite a few of the guys from Arkansas Rise. I got to interview Josh and Daniel. Now, they are the I'm going to call them the co-chapter heads of Arkansas Rise. I never have figured out which one of them is actually the chapter head, and anytime I've ever seen them all over the place, and they're always together. So I'm really not sure who runs the show, but I'm gonna call it a joint venture. Anyway, we had a good time with the interview. It was cold out there. I did a couple of them. When we went back inside, Daniel said, "Hang on, I got something for you," and he brought me this really cool Arkansas Rise patch. Now, it's on my jacket, but in order for me to show it to you, I'd have to stand up on something, and we don't need to do that. It's 2020. Here it is. This is a very cool patch. I want to say thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Josh. Thanks, everybody in Arkansas Rise. My goal with this jacket is to cover it with fan-made patches, and I told them that outside. I didn't even know they had a patch, and when I got back inside, they surprised me with one. So again, thanks, guys. We hung out a little while longer. Svet wasn't really quite ready to go, so he told us he'd make it back to his hotel. Go on, don't worry about it. I never did ask him how he got back, but he's a big boy. He made it. We were pretty close to his hotel. We had planned on going back to the hotel and crashing early, but I was kind of tweaked on coffee, and we were in Arkansas, so I had to tell her about all the things I remember from the previous time I was in Arkansas to see Metallica. I was there in 2004 on the Madly in Anger with the World Tour. That's where this shirt came from. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I was telling her about all the things I remember from my last trip, and I got to my favorite memory of that show. The guy in front of me said that it was their anniversary, and when he said that, the guy next to him said, "Well, it's our anniversary too." The guy behind me asked me if they were saying it was their anniversary, and I said, "Yeah, both of them, it's their anniversary," and he said they had just gotten married and they were on their honeymoon. So I was surrounded by love. I remember telling them all they should have named the tour the Madly in Love with the World Tour. Anyway, that was my biggest memory from the Godsmack Metallica show in Arkansas. By the time I got to the end of that, I looked over and Michelle was out like a light. Wasn't too much longer and I was there myself. We got up the next morning. We got a hold of Svet. He was ready to go. We picked him up. We found a McDonald's to get tweaked on coffee and headed down to the show. I couldn't wait to get to the arena because when I was talking to Daniel and Josh the night before, they told me they believed it was still the exact same building. It seemed like all the shows that were in cities that I'd seen Metallica in before, it was always at a different venue. I believe this was the only show on the tour where I was actually returning to a building that I'd been in the past. When I was there the first time, it was the Alltel Arena, and now it's the Verizon Arena. Other than the signs, it seemed like the same place, and I remembered it once I got down there. It was really cool. As soon as we got there, we saw where they were setting up a merch tent. We walked on over and we checked out the show poster, and that was an incredible poster. The VIP poster from that show was pretty badass too. I didn't get one, but more than once since that show, I've thought about that poster, and I wish I would have picked one up. The Internight Beer Crew was setting up a display. We got a picture with them. That's the thumbnail photo from the episode. After we took that picture, everybody got in line and I got busy doing interviews. I got quite a few. Before I knew it, the 30 or 40 people that were there turned into a couple thousand. I had talked the day away and it was time to head on inside. When we hit the floor, Michelle and Svet hit the rail and I set out on my normal tour around the arena. I got a chance to say a few words to Big Mick. I found Joe Sib. We had a nice little conversation. Then I headed out to get my drink. And when I was out there, I ran into a couple black ticket holders that I hadn't seen in a couple shows. So I decided to have a couple drinks with them. And to be honest, I drank more alcohol at the Arkansas show than I had at any of the other shows on the tour so far. When I got back in, Jim was on stage doing his thing and doing it well. And it was at this point that I realized how lit up I was. I realized this was going to change the perspective compared to what I had been used to. And I kind of looked forward to that. It didn't seem like much longer after that. The Angels were singing. The Ecstasy of Gold was on. Metallica came out and crushed it in front of another venue record-breaking crowd, just shy of 17,500 people. This crowd did not disappoint. They were as rowdy as all the other crowds on the tour. It was a great show. As the set list goes, it was straightforward. There really weren't any surprises that night. It was cool to hear Atlas Rise in Arkansas, knowing that the guys from Arkansas Rise were in the house. Many of them along the rail. They all ran through my head when that song played. Fade to Black was back in the lineup among all the regulars. We heard Hit the Lights. Spit Out the Bone was back in the first encore slot. But the song of the night for me would have to be Through the Never. It's always great to hear that song, and when they played it that night, the crowd really went nuts. It was a great time. The whole night seemed to fly. Pretty soon it was pick time. Nothing else matters, Sandman, and then the picks came. I ended up with a good-sized handful of picks. I got my 2 Arkansas picks, but at that show, that's the only show on the whole tour where I got all 4 face picks on the same night. As many of you know, there are 4 face picks. It's 1 for each member of the band. And then you've got the city picks and then a couple of the album cover picks. Well, to further the chase, there were 2018 and 2019 variations of each face pick. And I had all my 2018s, but this was January, so we were, back to the face chase. I'd gotten 2 of them in Tulsa, so I was doing pretty good. After the second show on the 4th leg, I only needed 2 more face picks to have a set of each for Alexander and Jonathan. I also had a few extra Little Rocks, so I found some people around me that didn't get one and gave them up. So that was an incredible pick night. And like I said, this is the only time on the tour I got all 4 different face picks. I got the whole band in one night. After the show, we were successful in finding the group photo. By this point on the tour, you could count on there being a group photo somewhere after the show, somewhere around the venue. And it wasn't a matter of if there was a group photo, it was if you were able to find it. Well, we were able to find it, so we were included in this one. After that, we headed outside. We hung out for a little bit, but it was pretty cold, so we headed on back to the hotel. We gave John and his daughter Kelsey a ride. Their hotel was just a couple blocks away, and they were going to walk, but we saw them when we were headed to our car, and it was pretty cold, so they piled in the car with us. We dropped them off. We headed back to Svet's hotel. We kind of drove around a little to see who was open, who had something to eat, and the only thing we could find was a McDonald's drive-thru, so we hit it. We were sitting there about a car length away from getting our food, and all of a sudden, we felt somebody hit us. He didn't hit us that hard. I got out. I had to take a look because we were in a rental car, and I didn't take the insurance, and I knew I had a $1,000 deductible. The guy was super apologetic, and I kind of got the feeling he definitely didn't want us calling the cops. He had been at the show too, and his alcohol obviously hadn't worn off the way mine had. And I looked at it. It was kind of iffy. It was just a little ding. Looked like one of them they might tag you for $250, but I just didn't feel like messing with it. I was more concerned with that guy getting to wherever he was going. I mean, he seemed pretty loaded. Anyway, I told him to have a good night. I hopped back in. We got our food. We dropped Svet off and headed back to our hotel. So we got up early the next morning. Michelle had to be at the airport pretty early. And like I said, after 2 days in our hotel, we couldn't figure out what all the negative reviews were in the hotel. It was a nice little stay. On the ride to the airport, Michelle gave me a little bit more of an explanation as to why she was returning home. She'd already told me she had to fly back and help a friend. And she felt kind of bad about leaving, but there was a lady in her town that needed a ride to the doctor, and the trip to the doctor was like 2 hours away from the town. The lady was it was a doctor's appointment that she could not afford to miss, and she didn't have anyone to take her. I figured that was quite a grand leap to help someone, but I wasn't trying to pry, but I was just kind of curious. Anyway, it didn't take us long to get to the airport. When we got there, she told me she'd text me her information of when her flight was coming. She was going to meet me again in Raleigh. So I was going to have 2 shows by myself. We said goodbye. I pulled around out of the airport. After I got out on the road that led to the airport, I saw a hotel, so I pulled in there. I needed to message our friend Stuart from the UK. I had talked to him at the show the day before, and I asked him how he was getting to Birmingham. He said he had bought a bus ticket, and I said, well, I just wanted to make sure you had a ride there. I told him Michelle was going to fly out for a couple shows, but I thought maybe he'd be interested in a little mini road trip. As soon as I said that, he said he would definitely be interested. And he said he'd look into getting his money back on the bus ticket, but he'd be happy to eat that price just for the company and the experience of a little mini road trip. I told him I'd text him after I dropped Michelle off at the airport and get the directions to his hotel, so that's what I did. He told me how to get there. I told him I'd be there in a half hour or so. And if you're wondering what happened to Svet, we wouldn't be seeing him again until Cincinnati. I offered to take him when I took Michelle, and his flight was much later in the day, and he had his eye on a little sandwich shop next to his hotel, so he said, I'll see you in Cincinnati, and that was that. I didn't want you to think I left him stranded. As I sat there finishing my smoke, it occurred to me that Michelle, she didn't flip me off when we said goodbye, and that was out of character. And I had to wonder if I had said something wrong when I was asking about her friend, and like I said, I was just curious. It seemed to be an awful large leap just to be dropping this and heading home to help someone, and that's commendable. And I wondered if maybe I asked too many questions. And right then I heard my phone beep, and when I picked it up and looked, it was a message from Michelle, and she had taken a picture of her hand and she was flipping me off. And attached was a message that said, I can't wait to see you in Raleigh. I had to laugh out loud on that one. That made me feel great. I jumped in the car to head to get Stuart. I couldn't wait to get to Alabama. I hadn't been there in a very long time. And one final thing, because this is the first episode that I've been using my new microphone setup. If you see that little blue light, I don't know if you can see that or not, but I figured I might want to explain what that is flashing around on my chest. What happened was my old microphone went out right after I finished the Tulsa episode, and I got on the phone to Alexander and I said, hey man, order me another one. This is the 3rd time it had happened, and I get a pretty cheap one. Trying to get through this project on the bare minimum. Alexander said he'd take care of it. He got on Amazon and he ordered a new one, and when it arrived, the reason I'm telling you this is I opened the package. It wasn't the one I was used to using. I had considered upgrading to a much nicer set, so I didn't have to worry about my cheap little microphones. And then at the end of it, I opted just to go with the old cheapo, and I figured I might have to buy another couple before it was all over. When I opened it up, I grabbed my phone and I called Alexander. I thought maybe Alexander misunderstood my message and he ordered the wrong one because I had said something that didn't make sense. I said, I thought that the cheaper version was coming, and he said, well, no, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay for it. And I said, what, they're giving them away? He said, no, I don't want you to have to worry. I want you to get through this series without worrying if your microphone's going to break. And he bought it for me. I thought that was a pretty selfless gesture. Here you got the guy that he taught me how to edit. He did the first 6 episodes. He's been helping me all along. I've never paid him a penny. And now he's laying out some money to buy me a new microphone set. So I didn't have to worry. I cannot say it enough. Thank you, Alexander. That was a classy move. I appreciate it greatly. I thought about making him send it back, but I didn't want to insult his gift. And Alexander, that means more to me than I can tell you. Thank you. You rock. But you already know. I'd like to say thanks to the crowd in Arkansas. You guys hosted one hell of an evening. It was a great time. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the guys in Arkansas Rise for an awesome pre-party and for the patch on my jacket. You guys rock. To everyone else, I'd like to say, as always, thanks for watching. If you like what we have going on here, we'd appreciate it greatly if you consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a like, a dislike, whatever the case may be. Leave us a comment and let us know how we're doing. If you find yourself in one of the videos, please feel free to share it to social media and help us grow the project. Next stop, Birmingham, Alabama. We'll see you there. Until then, rock on. Okay, who are you and where are you from?
Darren Herman from Fredericksburg, Texas.
My name is Josh Langley and I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Daniel Bicknell, Rogers, Arkansas.
My name is Jose. I'm from Puerto Rico.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. We're from Florida. Yeah.
I'm John Cooper from Florida.
My name's Travis Blankenship, and I'm from Georgia.
Georgia, what part of Georgia?
South Georgia, a city called Valdosta.
I'm David Busker, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
John, I'm from Atlanta.
I'm Mason. I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
I'm Samantha. I'm from Laguna Hills, California.
And I'm Justin. I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Hey, my name is Amit. I'm from Kansas City, originally from India. And yeah, we're hanging out here in Little Rock, Arkansas. My 31st Metallica show.
How long have you been a Metallica fan?
I've been a Metallica fan since 1996.
Do you remember who turned you on to the band in the first place? Or how did you come about being a Metallica fan?
I was watching MTV and it was the music video for Until It Sleeps. That was the first that I knew that it was Metallica. Now I heard Sad But True on the radio and actually had the Black Album, but I didn't put it two and two together at that time. I was too young.
Okay. That's been a while. Have you seen them live before?
Yes, I have.
You a black ticket holder?
What's that?
Are you a black ticket holder?
Yes, I'm a black ticket holder.
So how many shows have you seen on the tour so far?
So far, I've seen 5 shows.
You got plans for a few more?
And I'm trying to go to 12.
Okay, cool.
Let's see, over 20 years.
Yep, 20. I want to say when I was a kid hanging out with another guy that lived in my neighborhood that was my age. I want to say we were probably 8, 9 years old. His older brother would always listen to Master of Puppets, and I remember him talking about buying And Justice for All the day it came out. And you know, being a 8, 9-year-old kid, kind of scared me. Wasn't into it yet, but after the Black Album was released, and I ran into this guy, and our whole crew started listening to Metallica around '91. That's Black Album's what set it off.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'd say the same. It was pre-teens, rolling in the car with my mom. Sandman comes on. I think it's the song that grabs everybody, and it's just a question of, is it another song, or is it the song that sets a precedent for the rest of your life? You know, I heard Sandman, and the on switch was flipped on. You know, and then from there, it was rediscovering the albums prior. It was one, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em All, Four Horsemen, Seek and Destroy 'Em, and you're like, holy shit! Woo!
Right on.
You know, they've been around forever. Like, where have we been? You know, so then of course, and then you just jump on the train and then you ride them for the next 20 years. I mean, what else can you say?
20 years.
20 years. Have you seen them live before?
Yes, I have. This is my 4th show.
4th show.
Since 2010 was my first.
All right. So, how long have you been Metallica fans? Ladies first.
Well, I kind of just started getting into them, but I didn't really like them.
How old are you, may I ask?
I'm 13.
All right.
I've been a Metallica fan since the very beginning, since the Kill 'Em All album.
All righty. Have you seen them live before?
No, I have not.
First show? About to get your world rocked?
This is my 12th show.
12th show? About to get your world rocked.
Yes, sir.
Do you have one person in your life that you credit with turning you on to Metallica?
This guy.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah.
Me, it was probably some high school friends. I don't know the guy's name, but it was definitely in high school.
Yeah, that's been quite a while.
Yeah.
In your case.
In my case, yes.
Oh gosh, probably since I was about 14. So I'm 36 now, so about 22 years. I guess.
Most of your adult life. All of your adult life.
Well, let me take that back. I can remember actually prior to that age, childhood friends of mine, their older siblings having the cassette tapes and everything, and going to their house and listening to all that and seeing the posters and stuff on the room. But I didn't really know what it was until I got to the age that I really started getting into it.
Well, you just answered another question I was going to ask you. Who turned you onto the band in the first place? Older siblings or friends?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen them live before?
Yes, once in Atlanta back in 09, so 10 years ago. Death Magnetic Tour.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're in for it here again tonight.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Hoping to get in the rail, and my wife actually, she got the meet and greet passes, so I'm hoping that she can get up there with me after she's done. But I'm super jealous, but at the same time excited for her.
Yeah, but you're getting to appear on the episode
Yeah,
here.
that's right.
You want to give her a shout out by name?
Her name's April, and I love you.
How long have you been Metallica fans?
Probably 8 or 9 years at this point. 4 or 5 years.
Okay, cool. Do you have someone in your life that you solely credit with turning you on to the band in the first place, or how'd you come about being Metallica fans?
It's funny, man, because I really got introduced into a bunch of rock music through Guitar Hero. So, that's
I haven't heard that yet, but it's a great answer.
Yeah, like Guitar Hero 3. When I was younger, they had one on there, and that was actually the first song by Metallica I ever heard.
Did you nail it in the game?
Kind of. Not really.
Okay.
You know.
I just had a friend when I was 10 or 12 or something that would always play them, and that kind of got me into them.
Pretty much life.
Now, how many years is that?
28.
20.
Alrighty. Do you have one person in your life that you solely credit with turning you on to the band in the first place? How did you come about becoming a Metallica fan? Friend, uncle? Oh, that guy. Cool friend.
My mom used to drown me out to Metallica when I'd cry as a kid, so.
All right. Good parents raise good kids.
Yes, sir.
And I credit his dad for my taste of Metallica and Ozzy, and then it took off ever since I was just a wee lad.
Yeah. Have you seen them before live?
No, this is my second concert. I saw them in Tulsa, but before I saw them in Tulsa 2 days ago, I've never seen them before.
All right. How'd you like it?
It was the best show I've ever been to in my life.
Who turned you on to the band in the first place? Do you have a specific friend?
It was 1992. I got back from a vacation in the United States. I lived in India at the time, where I was born and brought up. And my neighbor came over, and I was listening to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. The Wild Side was the song. And my buddy goes, "What the fuck are you listening to? Check this out." And he gave me the Black Album, and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
The rest is fucking history. And by the way, James Hetfield knows this story. Because when I met him in 2004, I told him.
I was just going to ask you, have you ever met him?
Yeah, yep.
All right, did you meet the whole band?
All of them. It was awesome.
Can you narrow it down to a favorite song?
Honestly, favorite song for me would be Unforgiven 3.
I haven't heard that one yet, except from you the first time. Didn't you say that in
I did.
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's still.
I remember.
Unforgiven 3 is still my favorite. It's an awesome song.
Okay, cool. How about favorite album?
Ooh, favorite album would have to be Ride the Lightning, which is my back patch.
Oh, yeah. How about favorite band member, past or present? Do you have one?
I really don't. I think Metallica as a whole is, that's, yeah. I don't have a favorite band member.
Can you narrow it down to a favorite song?
No, my wife asked me that dumb question about a week ago, and I said maybe top song every album. But you can't narrow down 30 plus years of work into one album, one song.
I can give you a favorite album, it'd be Master of Puppets.
Puppets your favorite? That was the next question. How about you?
Oh, favorite album? Puppets, Justice. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite band member, past or present?
Well,
James, current member, probably favorite member of overall. Favorite bass player, hands down, is Cliff Burton.
Yeah, you can't talk Metallica without talking Cliff, but at the end of the day, James Hetfield really kind of helped steer the ship. Really kind of drives the band. I think everybody kind of relates to him.
All right.
Music, the whole bit. We're obviously part of Arkansas Rise, the local Arkansas chapter that represents the Metallica club in this area. That's our chapter. You can go to Facebook, look for Arkansas Rise, join the club there. There's, of course, millions of fan club members, millions around the world. We're just one of many few fans that love the shit out of Metallica and can't get enough of them.
Can you narrow it down to a favorite song? Do you have a favorite Metallica song?
Ride the Lightning.
Excellent. How about favorite album?
Ride the Lightning is also my favorite.
I thought you might say that. How about favorite band member, past or present?
I like Lars a lot.
Lars is your favorite?
Yeah.
Lars is cool.
For me, it'll be Ride the Lightning because it's just a good song.
That's your favorite song? Right on.
My favorite song is probably Orion. Probably won't hear it live, but that song just moves me like no other.
Alrighty, how about a favorite album?
Though I like Hardwired.
Hardwired?
Yeah.
That's your favorite album out of all of them?
Yeah, probably.
No doubt. I'm just clarifying. Right on. That's cool.
Mine is definitely Kill 'Em All.
Do you have a favorite band member?
I like Lars. He's pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely Lars.
Any reason for that, or?
I've met the band before, and Lars is just really cool dude. James is cool too, but I'm a drummer. Lars is a drummer. We have that in common, But I like them all, but Lars is definitely a very people person,
Can you narrow it down to a favorite song?
It varies a lot, but right now it's Disposable Heroes. Disposable Heroes. At one point it was Astronomy. It's just getting periods where I'll just get hooked on a song and you hear those riffs and it just really kicks so much ass it sticks with you for a while, and then you go to something else and you're like, man, I'm hearing stuff I didn't hear before, and something kind of like that. But right now it's Disposable Heroes.
All right, I completely understand. That was a good answer. Can you narrow it down to a favorite album?
Either Justice for All or Puppets. One of those two.
Right on. How about final favorite question? Do you happen to have a favorite band member, past or present?
Yeah, it's Hetfield.
Hetfield's the man.
Yeah, I love just something about his the attitude that he brings. Back years before up until now, there's so much power, so much aggression behind him, and there's a lot of attitude that I really like.
For me, it changes. Like, I feel like if I had to be basic and pick one song, it would be like Master of Puppets.
Okay.
Right now, I've kind of been, since the Justice Remaster came out, I've been super into Blackened. Shortest Straw is a real good song. I love that. I don't know. I mean, I could just list a bunch of songs.
Yeah, it's kind of a trick question.
Yeah.
But some people go right to it.
I couldn't pick one, but like Battery, Seek and Destroy. I couldn't pick one. There's a whole bunch that I really like.
All right, so same question with albums. You got a favorite album? Might get harder, might get easier.
It feels. I would have to just say Master. That feels like the right answer.
Love that.
I think the riffs in Justice are some of the best riffs of all time on guitar.
Are you watching your stuff? He was just getting a ticket.
Okay. I'd say Master. Easy in general.
All right.
I think I'd say Kill 'Em All. That was the first album I ever bought by them. That's the album that really got me into Metallica. I think I'd say Kill 'Em All.
How about favorite band member, past or present?
James. He's just easy James. He's the riff god, you know what I mean? Writes most of the songs.
Okay. What? Same?
James Hetfield.
Can you narrow it down to one favorite song?
Probably Damage Incorporated.
I can't.
Orion?
Orion? Yeah, it's my son's name.
Oh.
Yeah.
He wasn't at the show about...
He's 2, so no.
He's 2, no.
Well, no, there was a kid in the crowd who was very small. His name was Orion James at one of the San Francisco or California shows. Anyway, so it wasn't him. Go ahead.
Musically, probably Suicide and Redemption off of Death Magnetic. But I think all around favorite song would probably be Fade to Black.
That's mine. Favorite album?
Oh. Probably want to say probably Death Magnetic.
I could narrow it down.
Injustice for All.
How about favorite band member, past or present?
Either James or Cliff.
Cliff.
Okay. There we go.
We're
Okay.
simple.
Favorite song? Holy shit. Creeping Death.
All right. How about favorite album?
Master of Puppets.
How about favorite band member, past or present?
James.
What do you think about Brewer opening up the show?
I love Jim Brewer opening up. I mean, you could have a band, but it's entertaining. It's a lot of fun. Jim Brewer, he brings a lot of energy and excitement to it, and he comes out to the crowd too. So you get to high five him and you talk to him and everything. Like, it's very personable. I love it.
Love Jim Brewer.
Yeah,
he's killing it.
It's not an opening band, but you know what? Metallica's the one for not doing like everybody else does, so it's great to do something different. It's great to break the mold. That's what they're known for. It's what's made them not boring. It's spanned 40 years. The idea of bringing in a comedian to do something different keeps the crowd involved. It's funny. We've been to multiple shows that Jim's done, and you know, my wife laughs, I laugh, kids laugh. It's great. You know, it's nice to, like they talk about, it's multiple generations. I mean, what did we see last night in Tulsa? A 3-year-old to a 71-year-old enjoying the same shit.
Alrighty.
Yeah, in case anybody is wondering what the temperature here is currently in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's
Cold
30
as
degrees.
fuck.
So
Ooh.
we got some shivering going on, but
it's almost over.
It's all worth it.
I think we'll have got a band or something.
Okay.
It's a comedian act opening a metal show and something different.
But kind of an open mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Jim Brewer, what do you think of the whole Brewer opening up for Metallica thing?
He's really funny. I saw his Mets therapy thing. Oh my god, I died. He's pretty funny.
Love Jim Brewer. He's one hell of a guy. You couldn't have anybody else do it but Jim. If you're gonna have a comedian do it, there's nobody else who can replace Jim. He's just one heck of a guy.
What do you think about Brewer opening up the show?
I think it's unique. You don't hear of a comedian that often, but when last time I went, it was Lamb of God and Gojira, I believe it was. And so I've been to Maiden 2 years ago. That was Ghost. And earlier last year it was Foo Fighters, so they had the Struts were opening for them. But never been to one with a comedian, so I'm looking forward to see what that has to offer. I know of him. You know, I've seen the movies he's in, so but I've never seen him personally live.
When we found out, it was kind of weird. I've never really listened to him.
I don't know. I think it could be cool. I'm kind of disappointed that there's not another band that they're taking out like Avenged Sevenfold or Volbeat on the first part of the leg of the tour. But I think it could be cool. I think it's pretty different, you know.
Yeah. Okay, you're waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
All right, what do you guys think about Jim Brewer opening up the show?
Never heard him, so I mean, it's going to be quite a surprise.
he's hilarious. So they couldn't have picked a better opener if it wasn't a band.
So yeah, that's the question. You're open-minded about a comedian. That's okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what do you think about Jim Brewer opening up the show?
Love them. Love Jim. I think Jim's awesome, and he's just a lovely human being. And through the hanging out with the tour, we've kind of got to know each other. So he's awesome. Yeah.
What about
great.
Joe?
Joe is fantastic.
How about Joe's comedy?
I love Joe's comedy, and I love your interview with Joe. That was awesome.
Hey, thanks,
Thanks
man.
for doing that.
Thanks for the compliment. We come from all walks of life. What do you do for a living?
I'm a construction manager and I build pipelines.
Okay.
So that's a lot different.
That's a good one. Well, we come from all walks of life as Metallica fans. What do you do for a living?
I've been in retail for 19 years. I've been with the same company for 19 years.
Okay.
Sales professional in the retail business for almost 20 years, and you're right. When it comes to Metallica, there's all walks of life. You walking down the street, you meet somebody. We're on our drive here, and you see a guy in a plumbing truck that you don't expect to have some sort of common ground. Next thing you know, he's throwing up the horns, and you're like, hell yeah, and you're walking through, a restaurant, repping your local Metallica shirt from a show 6 months back, and next thing you know, you got some waitress that walks up and said, "That was my first show." So
I got pulled over at the Grand Canyon, and the cop ended up subscribing to my
That's right.
channel.
Metallica talked you out of a ticket, huh?
That's what happened. Right on.
So I tell you, that's the thing. They talk about it last year about all walks of life, all political affiliations, all type of religious beliefs. And at the end of the day, music what brings you together, and then Metallica drives us. It finds common ground with anybody. So
I work as security.
Security?
Bodyguard.
All right.
Security. That's right.
I'm a full-time student because I'm only 13.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 7th grade.
All right.
I'm in the flooring industry. I work for a flooring distributor, a wholesale flooring distributor in Florida.
I'm an air traffic controller.
Or I haven't met one of them yet.
Yeah.
I don't actually have a job right now. I go to music school in Atlanta. I'm studying engineering and audio production. The goal is to make music and tour off that.
That's a fine answer.
Yeah. So
you got a plan.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I just graduated high school.
Okay.
And about to start college in about 2 months.
You know what you're going to major in?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the same school as him.
Hey, right on. You're at the right place.
Yeah,
But you already know that.
Yeah.
I work at a place called Shogun, Japanese steak and seafood.
We've got them near St. Louis.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
It's a good place.
I'm mom.
That's a fine job. The hardest, I hear.
And I manage a music store.
Well, that's cool.
Sell guitars for a living.
So I'm a graphic designer, and I'm also my big passion is cooking. So I'm a personal chef. So that's awesome. That's my side gig. So yeah, it's awesome.
If the band members themselves should happen to see this, do you have a message for them?
I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for putting out the music. Thank you for touring. Thank you for continuing this. Just thank you. This is awesome. I love it. This is the thing I look forward to. I love going to see Metallica live.
Final question, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
If the band members themselves should happen to see this, do you have a message for them?
keep it going. I know there's probably retirement talks. I know you can't do it forever, but at the end of the day, we know you do it for the fans. You could have quit 20 years ago and bought you a piece of property in an island somewhere and called it quits. But at the end of the day, I think you do it because you love it. You do it because the fans love it, and whether you call it quits tomorrow or you call it quits 10 years from now, we'll ride it as long as we can.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the inspiration. Got me involved in music, starting my own band and trying to take it off from there. But yeah, absolutely, just hands down, thank you.
I just would like to thank them for the music. That's all.
Hi.
There you go.
Hey, we love you guys. We love being here. We love everything that you guys do. We love the music, and you're such an inspiration to me and to everybody out here. And we can't wait to get this party started tonight.
Keep doing what you're doing because you inspire so many people.
I guess just like thank you for the music. put out and for inspiring so many people throughout the world to play music. Yeah, it's really cool.
Man.
It's a hard question because
Yeah.
there's a lot you'd love to say to them.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I don't know. Probably just I feel like that, what he said is just the best way of putting it. You know, just thank you for your contribution to music in general, changing metal music, you know, for influencing my life, changing what I want to do with my life, you know. So.
Keep on keeping on, guys.
Go until you can't go anymore.
I just have to say thank you for everything and anything. So,
If the band members themselves should happen to see this, you got a message for them?
I do. Thank you for your blessing. I love you. Thank you for all your music. You make my life an incredible day every fucking day. Every day, your music inspires me. Thank you.
Thank you, little